Well, maybe it's an Alaskan trait then, Curt, because the two of you both, when you're hammered, you still come out smiling, you still come out with common sense, you still come out putting family first. I think what people appreciated, though, about your response to what happened after that tweet came out regarding Muslims was the way you responded, and you could tell it was from you. Today, what do you make of this whole situation with our culture? Because it's not just politics, but even in sports, everyone's controlled, it seems, by the media or by the left. Rajon Rondo the other day made some comments, good, bad, or indifferent. The apology tour follows often, right away. And it
always does. It always does, and the biggest problem is nobody believes anything you say after the quote.
Right.
Because if you apologize and it's heartfelt and people believe you're sincere, then they have to stop. The argument stops, and the story stops. But here's the thing: the social media and all of the media that we're involved with and that are active now have changed everything. Because when you say something, tweet something, Facebook something, Snapchat, whatever, you're doing it to potentially hundreds of millions of people, with millions and millions of them dying to be offended, so they can go berserk.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I mean,
waiting. Yep.
I am blown away by the fact that and I hate to generalize, and those that aren't affected by this comment know who they are. But this generation might be the softest group of human beings I've ever seen. In the fact that the things that they're protesting, the things that they're trying to stand for, the free education and drop student. I mean, just mind-boggling stuff, and the amount of entitlement is staggering. And the issue though is I had the business that I started and that went bankrupt in Rhode Island, and so every time I make a comment, somebody turns to that, like, you took money. Well, I didn't take money. A municipal bond is not a loan, but when you look at, it's almost like you can't get off the ground in a conversation because somebody no one ever. You ever notice now when you say, "Hey, your candidate said X," no one ever says, "Well, he didn't mean it, she didn't mean it, or they meant this." They say, "Yeah, but your candidate said Y."
Sure. Yep. Absolutely.
So we never get to. No one ever calls anybody out and sticks with it, except for. I mean, listen. Is there any mystery why Donald Trump is doing what he's doing from a poll perspective?
That's the only reason. No, that is you got it, Curt. That is the reason, and it's the only reason. He's calling him out and not apologizing.
He is making politicians talk about the things we care about,
yes,
not the things they care about.
You got it.
And that is the difference. And God bless him for doing it. Listen, there's no candidate in my lifetime, every president I can remember, and every president I've studied, researched, and read about, I've never read about a candidate who I agreed with or heard a candidate I agree with 100%.
No, because you haven't run for president. You're the only person you're going to agree with.
Absolutely, and here's the thing: Senator McCain is one of my dearest friends in the world, and I disagree with him on some stuff, and I disagree with both, the eldest Bush and George Bush Jr. But at the end of the day, I trusted him. That was the thing. I trusted. I want somebody I can trust, because they're not going to answer every question the way I want it answered.
No.
They're not going to do everything the way I want it done. But that was why, for me, Senator McCain was such an obvious candidate for this reason. Unlike every other politician I've ever known, for the most part in the world, at the most crucial moment in his life, when he had to make the most crucial decision of his life, there were no cameras there. There was no glory. There was no press. It was, we can let you go if you'll sign a letter saying, and he stayed and remained a prisoner of war because of his integrity, his honor, his pride, when there was nothing to gain by it. When a man can do that and I'm not watching, I kind of trust him when he's behind closed doors. And those are the people I want. Those are the people I look for. And I'm not talking about Donald Trump and trust. What I'm saying is, stop looking for somebody to do everything you want done. Number one, because you're not going to find him. And number two, get off your ass and do some of this stuff for yourself.
We talked about whether it's an athlete or a politician. I think the other thing, Curt, that people appreciate from you that they may not get from others, it's one thing to say, I made a mistake. It's one thing to offer an apology, but it's another thing when you have someone else write it for you. And I think that's the other thing. When obviously an athlete or obviously a politician didn't write it, people do not respect that. But I know that you, just like Governor Palin, you have a lot of similarities. And another one is that you are savvy with social media. And I just got to commend you. I know you you took on some punks a while back. You stood up for your daughter when some creep wrote disgusting things online. And, these internet guys are real tough when hiding behind a keyboard. 30 years ago, it was just writers. Now there's a lot of things to hide behind, and they're never found out. So, and sometimes they need calling out. So kudos on that.
Well, thank you, but here's the issue. Here's the problem. Like everything else that we hate about, I believe the downfall of I don't want to say the downfall, but I think the decline of what this country was to what it is right now is directly tied to the kitchen table. I don't ever remember growing up as a kid not eating dinner with my family. That doesn't happen anymore. And so the things that we do and the things that we say, they don't get tabled in front of mom and dad anymore. First of all, mom and dad hardly ever know. But there's never those moments. The farther away we get from God, the farther away we get from the country. I think we found it. But most importantly to me is people have been led to believe that it's okay to be to act criminal, to be dirty, vulgar on the internet or whatever they want to be, because there are no repercussions. And I wanted to make sure that people understand. Number one, that my daughter was protected, but number two, that if I can find these guys, and I found them, that the repercussions are real. They committed crimes. One of them will be labeled a sex offender the rest of his life. And people said to me, "Do you feel bad?" Hell no, I don't feel. I didn't do anything. I defended my daughter. I didn't. And this is the thing. I'm tired of hearing people say, "Oh, I made a mistake." No, you didn't make a mistake. You made a horrible life choice. The only reason you're admitting it is because you got caught.
You got it, Kurt. I say that all the time. A mistake is when you leave the milk out overnight. You left the garage door open.
A mistake is when I call you by your wrong name. Yep, sorry about. All right, bump it. Oh, sorry.
Exactly.
These are things you think long and hard on. And here's the thing that's more terrifying to me. I would argue that a lot of things, that 99% of what you put on the internet is who you are. You're not afraid to be who you are on the internet because no one can ever find you. When you think about that, and then you read those quotes, you realize, okay, this is because I'll tell you what, some of the guys that I talked to, their parents, their dads, they were mortified. They were going to kill the kid. Like, they couldn't believe it. Now, first of all, it was denied. No way. And then they see it, and and at the end of the day, a couple kids lost $140,000 scholarships over 140 characters on Twitter. That's what happened.
Well, listen, you didn't only defend your daughter that day; you defended everybody's daughter, and you defended women in this country. And it was a big day, and it was nice coming from someone like you. And Kurt,
I appreciate that.
Before we let you roll here, we've had former All-Star Howard Johnson on this program, NFL great Jerry Kramer, Bears co-owner Pat McCaskey. A lot of conservatism coming from these guys.
Yep.
Do you think sports still largely conservative? Because sometimes it seems sports, the place we used to go to just enjoy ourselves and not have any politics, really. It's just getting more and more political day by day.
Yeah. I mean, if you remember, and one of the things that I'll give you two answers. First off, think about Boston. If you think about the last 15 years, 2004, we win the World Series, and the next morning on Good Morning America, I say to vote for President Bush, and I get more vilified. And it's never, ever gone away. I had threats. My people took money out of my charities. I mean, it was amazing the depth and level of hatred that came out of that. Fast forward a couple years, Tim Thomas stands on his head and carries the Bruins through the playoffs into a Stanley Cup. One of the greatest playoff runs ever. He doesn't go to the White House because he objects to the president, and he's run out of town. This year, you've got Tom Brady admitting to being the friend of Donald Trump, and there's 3 days, 72 hours of sports talk radio going nuts. But and when I did that in 2004, no one knew that the ownership of the Red Sox was flying John Kerry around on his private jet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a double standard. But again, sports is I would tell you that Democrats are a rare breed in sports because sports mirrors society in the sense that the harder you work, the more time and effort you put into something, the more reward you get. The guys that are the greatest, the highest paid, contrary to popular belief, they're not the most talented. They're the hardest working, and they always were. And so, listen, I paid probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 to $60 million in taxes out of my baseball paycheck. Now, would I have liked to have paid less? Absolutely. But I paid what I was supposed to pay because that's the price for living here. I get it. I'm all right with that. And I understand that I should pay a little bit more than people that are making a whole lot less because of the cost of living and all those other things. But you're getting to a point where you're asking the upper 1/2 of 1% to support everybody. And that's not going to play because you can only push them to leave once, and they're going to go. If you think people are going to stay, this country is so business unfriendly now. I mean, it's staggering to me. But that's I jumped off topic, but yeah, baseball is I would say sports as a whole is very, very conservative.
Listen, we even saw it just this past season. Daniel Murphy offered some comments regarding traditional marriage and, blasted, and you saw teams coming out.
Let me ask you something, and that's a great one. Daniel Murphy comes out in favor and talks about his faith in God, his Christian background, and how he believes in traditional marriage. If Daniel Murphy had come out and said, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God, and you can marry whoever you want, no one would have said a word.
Well, not only that, he'd be lauded for it.
Right, but see, it's not about acceptance and freedom of speech and everybody's rights.
Right.
It's about all those things as long as you're not espousing Christian beliefs.
Yep, conservatives and Christians are omitted. That's the asterisk. The asterisk is not by the 61. It's by what people say.
That's the world we live in. You can hate it all you want. You can be pissed about it, but you got to deal with it and figure out how to make it better.
And do something about it, yeah.
Yep.
You've done great charity work, skin ailments, melanoma in particular. That's personal for your family. How's everybody doing, and how is your health?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. Everybody's doing good here. I mean, this is another Christmas has passed, and my wife and I are here and healthy, and my 4 kids are healthy, and I don't have. I feel uncomfortable. I'm so blessed and so lucky with the things that I've been given in life. So, everybody's good, and I'm still rebounding. It's going to be a couple years before everything settles down. But Sean is doing well, and the kids are doing. They're home from college, the 2 oldest, and I'm realizing now time absolutely flies.
It's amazing. I mean, mine are only 5 and 7, and I already get that.
It's terrifying to think that I'm going to turn around and all 4 are going to be in college or gone.